बराह रास्त आपको लिए चलेंगे इस्लामाबाद। वज़ीर ख़ारजा शाह महमूद कुरैशी इस वक्त स्पेन के हम मनसब के हमरा प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे हैं।
We have to chip in, and I'm happy to learn from you that there is conference in Geneva, you mentioned, on that very subject, on how international players can contribute in averting the humanitarian crisis and generating funds for the people of Afghanistan. That's good news. Pakistan is contributing in our own little way. One of our aircrafts landed in Kabul yesterday with supplies of food and medicines. We will continue to do that through air and through land routes, and the international community should also do their bit. Economic collapse of Afghanistan will not suit anyone. It will not suit the region. It will not suit Afghans, and we must take steps to avert that. One of the ways is availability of resources, promoting activity, economic activity. And I suggested yesterday, along with the Qatari Foreign Minister, and I have suggested this to the Spanish Foreign Minister, that freezing of funds, Afghan funds, is not helpful. Please revisit that decision and see that if you're making an effort for humanitarian assistance, there is reasoning and there's logic behind that. And I think there is logic and reasoning behind unfreezing funds. Do consider that. We've discussed our bilateral relations, and I thank the Foreign Minister for the support Pakistan has received on the GSP Plus issue. They have been consistent, they have been supportive, and we expect them to continue supporting Pakistan as the review progress is undergoing. On FATF, I have informed and I have briefed the Foreign Minister on the steps Pakistan, the concrete and verifiable steps Pakistan has taken vis-a-vis implementation of the obligations that we had committed to. I have also asked the Foreign Minister to look at the opportunity, an early opportunity, for convening the 5th round of the annual bilateral consultations. That's a good mechanism, and we should use that mechanism to further our bilateral relations. On economic matters, we've had a discussion that, as the spokesman said, Spain is our third largest trading partner within Europe, and there are great opportunities, and I shared areas, sectors in which there are good prospects and incentives given by Pakistan for Spanish investments into Pakistan. And finally, the travel advisory. Many countries have revisited travel advisories, and I would urge Spain to do so because of the changed security environment within Pakistan. Thank you, Foreign Minister. Thank you for your visit.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the quality and the warmth of your greeting, and for your readiness to allow me to be here today. It was with very soon notice that I told you that I wanted to pay a visit here to Pakistan, and immediately you said yes. And that shows your attitude and the good shape and quality of our relationship. Especially this year, in which we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the establishing of diplomatic relations. Spain was among one of the first countries in the world to recognize the Pakistani independence, and this is an excellent opportunity, this visit here today, to re-energize, to relaunch with even more strength that bilateral relationship. As the Minister said, we agreed that the bilateral consultations, the last time was 2018, must take place this year, and we are going to do it very quickly, hopefully in Madrid, if possible, and I hope to host you, Minister, as soon as possible in Madrid and in Brussels. You are a very important partner for Spain, and you are a very important partner for European Union. In the last Foreign Council of Ministers of Foreign Affairs in the European Union, we all recognize the importance of Pakistan for the stability of this region. The reality of Pakistan is well known for me, even before coming for this first visit here to Pakistan, because there are more than 100,000 Pakistanis that live in Spain, that contribute to the strength and the well-being and the economy of Spain, and we are very happy to have them there. They are ambassadors of your country in mind, and I imagine that when they come back here to Pakistan, they are also ambassadors of Spain here in Pakistan. We have talked about the GSP Plus scheme, in which Pakistan is by far the main partner for European Union, and the way to improve our economic relationship and to foster export from Pakistan to European Union and from European Union to Pakistan. We discuss also about tourism. Spain is the host country since the 70s, since its creation of the World Tourist Organization, and I had the chance to explain the Minister the new premises that will be the premises of the future of the organization in Madrid, that will be built and finished in the next few years, and which will be investing over 100 million euros. And of course, we discussed the situation of the region, Afghanistan. I will be visiting many of the countries of the region, and Pakistan is the first one. We acknowledge the knowledge, the leverage that Pakistan has on Afghanistan. So we exchanged views, I took advice, and I asked a few questions to the Minister. We both want the same thing: stability for Afghanistan, peace for Afghanistan, no spillover of the crisis to the region. We want humanitarian assistance to reach the people of Afghanistan, and we hope that that will be possible. But in order to do that, conditions must be met as well. On Monday there will be a donor conference. Spain will be attending it, a donor conference on Afghanistan, and we will be engaging funds, doing pledges. Our agency is ready to help the Afghan people. We have been there, close to them for 20 years. We are not going to leave them behind. We want also, and I explained the Minister, we want those Afghan collaborators that work with us, with the different Spanish institutions through all this year, to be able to peacefully leave the country if they wish and come to Spain, as we are ready to do. So that also a very important objective for us. And of course, for Spain, for the European Union, I would say for the international community, the respect of all human rights, it's also something very important of Afghanistan. So we want to work very closely with Pakistan, with the regional partners, to try to make the best of the near future for the Afghan people. Thank you very much, Minister. I hope that this is the beginning of a long dialogue among us, that will be a long dialogue between our nations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ministers. I believe the Ministers have time for a couple of questions. Please indicate your desire to pose a question and also introduce yourself. Gentleman in the middle.
Naseem Siddiqui from Ab Tak News. Welcome to Pakistan. I would like to ask you that USA and Western countries, they are very much interested in the human rights and women rights in Afghanistan. But when these things are in Kashmir, in the illegally occupied Indian Kashmir, so why Western countries and USA don't ask Modi about the human rights and women rights in Kashmir, please? Thank you.
Well, I can talk on behalf of the Spanish government, and I can assure you that human rights and women's rights are always important for us in any region in the world. In this very moment, there is concern, I cannot hide that, about the situation of women and human rights and freedom of movement of those that have collaborated with us in Afghanistan, and that has been one of the sources of discussion. But for us, human rights is not something divisible. It goes all over the world.
Can we have a question from the back, on the right side?
Thank you, sir. This is Shaukat Praja from ITLVN, and I have a question for both the excellencies. My question to Honorable Makhdoom Shah Mahmood Qureshi is, when so many people are interacting with you, what is their concern, why they are not able to recognize Afghanistan so far when the ground reality is very clear? And my question to Honorable Visiting Foreign Minister of Spain is, there is a ground reality and there are international aspirations. Why international community is not able to recognize what's on the ground? And how far in the world history the defeated countries, they impose conditions and the victors, they are asked to accept the conditions? Thank you.
Thank you, Praja Saab. On the question of recognition, the interactions that I've had with my colleagues and what I've deduced from those interactions is that people are not in a hurry. People are watching. They're waiting. They are looking at the unfolding events in Afghanistan, and they are saying they haven't shut their minds, they have an open mind, but they're saying our decision will be based on your policies and your actions. They have announced certain benchmarks, and I am sure they will measure them according to the benchmarks that the European Union has illustrated. So that is where they stand. But at the same time, there is recognition of a new reality. At the same time, there is awareness that engagement is required. A dialogue for a better understanding can be useful. So I see an interest, a desire to engage, but not a rush to recognize.
I don't think they've talked about imposing conditions or imposing conditions. No one has done it. Asking for freedom of movement for those that have collaborated with us and that want to leave Afghanistan, or asking for humanitarian assistance, security conditions. Afghanistan are not imposing conditions. It's something normal. There is nothing outrageous. It's just setting a framework in which we can have operational contact and be able to work with humanitarian assistance and getting those collaborators out.
The question from the right.
Excellency, this is Zaid Farooq Malik, editor of the Daily Metro Watch. As you note that the Taliban have announced their ops bearers and they are going to take oath on the day on 9/11. Your comments on that, and how can one country can ask to the World Bank and the IMF and the other institutions to seize the Afghan money?
That's directed to you.
Okay. I can talk on behalf of the Spanish government. I mean, the organization that you've named they have a board and they take their decisions, so there is no comment on how they act, on they behave. It's the board that behaves. Once again, the aim of the Spanish government, and that's the spirit with which I have come today here, is to give stability to Afghanistan, to ensure that the population will have humanitarian assistance if they need it. To make sure that there will be no spillover effect of this crisis on the region and the respect of human rights. That's the spirit in which I come, and that's why I wanted to engage with the minister here in Pakistan and to engage in that discussion. Because this is not an effort of one country. There I share your point of view. It's an effort of the region and the international community.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
इस्लामाबाद में वज़ीर ख़ारजा शाह महमूद कुरैशी स्पेन के हम मनसब के हमरा प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस कर रहे थे।